All right, today we're going to dive into one of crypto's original players, Litecoin. We're going to unpack how it got that famous nickname, digital silver.
So you've definitely heard people call Bitcoin digital gold, right? It makes sense. It's this super secure place to store your value, kind of like a gold bar in a digital vault. But what happens when you don't need a whole gold bar? What if you just need, some change to buy a coffee?
Well, that right there is exactly where Litecoin comes in. If Bitcoin is the gold, Litecoin was built from the ground up to be the silver. Let's dig into why that simple idea is so important.
To really get what Litecoin is all about, we have to rewind the clock. You have to understand the problem it was designed to fix, and that story starts and ends with its relationship to its older, bigger sibling, Bitcoin.
Okay, so Bitcoin lands in 2009, and it's a total game changer. But by 2011, a former Google engineer, Charlie Lee, noticed something. Bitcoin was incredibly secure, yeah, but it was also kind of slow and getting expensive for small, everyday stuff. So he had this goal. What if we could make a lighter version of Bitcoin, something built for speed and daily use? And just like that, Litecoin was born.
And that gold versus silver analogy, it's not just a cute nickname. It's honestly the perfect way to understand the difference. Bitcoin's main job is to be a super secure store of value, which means transactions take about 10 minutes and can cost a bit. Litecoin, on the other hand, is all about fast, everyday payments. We're talking transactions that clear in about 2.5 minutes and cost like a few cents. One's the vault for your gold, the other is literally the change in your digital pocket.
So how in the world does Litecoin pull this off? How is it 4 times faster than Bitcoin? Let's pop the hood and see how it works. Without getting too technical, I promise.
So it all starts with a blockchain, which is really just a public digital ledger that everyone can see. When you send some Litecoin, that transaction gets blasted out to the whole network. Then these powerful computers called miners all race to solve a complex puzzle to prove your transaction is legit. Once one of them solves it, your transaction gets locked into a block, which is then added to the chain forever.
Now, the secret sauce here, the key difference is the algorithm. Litecoin uses a totally different set of rules for its miners called script, and it was chosen for a very specific reason. It allows for way faster processing, and it uses a lot less energy than Bitcoin's algorithm. That one technical decision is what makes everything else possible.
And the result of that choice? An average transaction time of just 2.5 minutes. That's it. That's how long it takes for your payment to be verified and locked in. It's the real-world payoff for that clever design.
I mean, just look at that. Compared to Bitcoin's 10 minutes, being 4 times faster is a huge deal. It's what makes Litecoin practical for those moments where you just can't stand around waiting, like, actually buying that cup of coffee. Okay, so we know it's fast, we know it's cheap, but what does that mean in the real world? What are people actually using this digital pocket change for day to day? Well, its uses are pretty broad. You've got everything from paying for stuff online and sending money across borders with super low fees to trading and just holding it as part of a crypto portfolio. But one of its coolest, most important roles is being a kind of test ground for Bitcoin. Because their code is so similar, big new features often get tested on Litecoin first to see if they work before they get rolled out on the much bigger Bitcoin network. Pretty neat, right?
And here's the thing. Because it's been around since 2011, which is ancient in crypto years, it has this massive advantage. People trust it, and it's everywhere. You can find it on pretty much every major exchange and in every wallet you can think of. That makes it one of the absolute easiest on-ramps for anyone who's just starting to get into crypto.
But hey, it's not all a walk in the park. To get the full picture, we've got to be balanced here. Litecoin has its challenges. So let's take an honest look at the risks and talk about where it really fits in today's super crowded crypto market. First, and this won't be a surprise to anyone, it's volatile. Like all crypto, prices can swing up and down like crazy. Plus, the competition is just fierce now. So many newer coins have popped up that also promise fast, cheap transactions. And even though it's widely available, let's be real, it's still not accepted everywhere you want to shop. And a lot of the time, its price just kind of moves up and down with whatever the rest of the crypto market is doing. But here's the counterpoint, and it's a big one. Litecoin's greatest strength is the perfect answer to those risks. In an industry where new projects can vanish overnight, having over a decade of proven stability and reliability, that's huge. It has a track record of being secure and just plain working that very few other coins can even touch.
At the end of the day, Litecoin has really cemented its role as this simple, dependable bridge into the bigger world of digital assets. It's not trying to be the most complex, flashy next-generation tech. Its true strength is that it just works, and it's been working reliably for a very, very long time.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world with thousands of different cryptocurrencies, all screaming for your attention, all promising to be the next big thing, is it possible that being simple, fast, and reliable is actually the most powerful feature of all? Does simple still win?